So, guys, Manchester United 2, Paok nil, full time from Old Trafford on this Europa League night on this Thursday evening on match day 4 of the new UEFA Europa League format. Manchester United 2, Paok nil. And the reasons why Amad Diallo should be starting games for Manchester United is very, very clear to the naked eye. Amad Diallo, for me, at the moment, is Manchester United's current best winger in that team. Amad Diallo obviously hasn't been given his chances this season. Amad has not been given the game time he deserves this season. Amad Diallo's not been really given an opportunity to prove himself as a Manchester United player under Erik ten Hag as well as Ruud van Nistelrooy. But I think tonight proved a massive, massive point that this guy is something very, 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 very special. I think without Amad Diallo's 2 goals tonight, Manchester United would not have won this game. It was a very, very, very frustrating first half performance in my view. It was a very, very lethargic performance from Manchester United. I didn't think we came out of the starting blocks very good. I thought we were quite lethargic in some of the phases of the game. I thought we paid way too much respect to Paok, and I think they were there for the taking inside that first half. And I think Manchester United obviously have got the 2 goals. They got the 2 goals in the end to win the game. I don't think Manchester United showed the best of what Manchester United could do. I think we paid a lot of attention to try and get the play down the wings inside that first half. I think, again, Amad is probably the best player in the team. I think, from my view, I think without him tonight, we probably wouldn't win that game. And also, I would probably say, at the moment, with the way Manchester United and the way things are looking, Amad Diallo has to be starting on that right wing. And I've been calling it for weeks. Amad Diallo should be starting games for Manchester United. And I think tonight Ruud van Nistelrooy got the team selection bang on correct. Obviously, there was a few changes and a few surprises in that team selection that I didn't really see coming, that I fully expected Manchester United to go quite strong tonight. And I thought it was quite a weak team, in my view. I think there was quite a few surprising changes that Ruud van Nistelrooy made to the team compared to the Chelsea game at the weekend. Was that rotation? Was that to keep the squad fresh for Sunday's game against Leicester? Or have certain players been dropped? Which was probably maybe the correct thing to do, or maybe quite a worrying thing to do, that I thought certain players should have been starting the game tonight. I was quite surprised by the back 4 changes. Again, I couldn't understand why the likes of Lisandro Martinez and Matthias de Ligt didn't start tonight. For me, we were taking a massive, massive risk of starting Lindelof and Johnny Evans together inside that back 4. And it did have me quite concerned that we were going to concede goals tonight. And in my view, I think the team selection was wrong. I would have gone full strength. I think we paid way too much respect to Paok inside that first half. Obviously, we created the best chances in the game. I think the first half we've been robbed of 2 clear Stonewall penalties. I think Man United again have been robbed by VAR and the lack of refereeing experience at the top of the European game. I think Manchester United have not been given 2 penalties based on, we don't really want Manchester United to start running away again once the new manager comes in. And I think the 2 penalties that should have been awarded are clearly 2 Stonewall penalties. I think the foul on Amad Diallo inside the first half, where it went out for a Manchester United corner, that is a clear foul. If that's in the Premier League and that's going to VAR, that is being given. How the referee and VAR have not gone back and looked at that decision, and how the referee has not been sent over to the monitor, is absolutely mind-blowing. How that has not been given as a penalty, I think it's quite shocking. I think the standard of refereeing these days is quite poor. I thought the referee had a very, very poor game tonight. And I think the first decision not to award a clear foul on Amad Diallo inside the Paok penalty area, I think, is an absolute disgrace, because there's no touch for the ball. Amad Diallo has clearly been fouled in the penalty area and has clearly been tripped. And if that's in a Premier League game between 2 top teams, or a mid-table team and a top Premier League team, that would be looked at, and the referee should have been sent over to the monitor, because Amad Diallo could have had a hat-trick tonight. I think if he would have been awarded the penalty, I think he would have been allowed to take it. But I think obviously Bruno Fernandes as captain probably would have taken the responsibility from the penalty spot. But it's clueless refereeing that penalty's not been given. I mean, you have to give it. Like, it's a clear Stonewall foul. It's a clear penalty. And again, why that hasn't been given, I think is very, very unfair. And I think the second foul is on Casemiro. The Paok player has clearly pushed Casemiro over inside the penalty area, has clearly got nowhere near the ball, has clearly got nowhere near the mat. He's clearly got nowhere near trying to win the ball, and has clearly pushed past Casemiro down to the ground. That is a clear, again, a Stonewall penalty. And again, the referee's not been called to look at that. I mean, if you push a player inside the penalty area, that has to be a penalty. Like, you cannot not give that. That would be a top Stonewall penalty if that is a Premier League game. If that's a push, and it was clearly a shoulder barge, in my view, he's pushed Casemiro over. And again, it's another penalty that Manchester United haven't been awarded tonight. And I think it's unfair. Like, we could have had 3 or 4 goals in that game today if the 2 penalty decisions would have been given. And I don't know how they've not been given, because, again, if that's in the Premier League, those 2 penalties are given very, very quickly. You send the referee over to the VAR monitor. That's looked at. Both will be given as penalties. And I think, for me, that should have happened. I don't understand why the referee has not been given that opportunity to go over to the VAR monitor and look at those 2 decisions, because I think the referee has had an absolute shocker of the game. I think he lost complete control of the game. I think there was a lot of fouls on our players, and a lot of the Paok players were getting away with quite clear fouls and some quite bad fouls as well. And I think a lot of those Paok players should have been picking up yellow cards. I think Manchester United have got lucky that they haven't come away with any injuries tonight, because the amount of challenges that were going in on our players was quite horrific in my view. I think the referee lost control. I don't think the referee had the balance of play for either team. I think the referee was all over the place, and I think the big occasion got to him. And I think, again, the big team here, Manchester United, have not been given 2 penalties, which I think is a very, very big talking point, because, again, if that's in a Champions League game, if that's in a Premier League game, those 2 penalties are given. And there's no reason why not they shouldn't be given. They're both clear fouls. They're Stonewall penalty kicks. And, again, they should have been given. Manchester United have been robbed again by the refereeing standards of the game. And I think VAR has absolutely ruined world and European football completely. I think VAR coming into the game has absolutely worsened the sport. I don't think the refereeing is at the level that it should be. And I think the standards of refereeing have gone out the window this season. And I think the referees are losing control of the games. It's not just in the first half. It's not just in the second half. It's the whole game. It's the whole 94 minutes. I just don't think the referee has any control of that game today. And again, I think the occasion got to him. He's refereeing Manchester United. And at the end of the day, the bigger decisions aren't going to the bigger teams and the better teams. And again, if that's 2 fouls in the penalty area, which they were, both those players should have been booked, and both should have been yellow carded as well, because they're both clear fouls. And again, you've got Robbie Savage on TNT Sport commentating tonight, and he says, it's a clear Stonewall penalty. Amad Diallo has been clearly fouled. And again, he thinks it's a penalty, but 2 minutes later, he then changes his mind, which I don't really get that. Like, if you're a top commentator, which Robbie Savage isn't, in my view, you can't change your mind that quickly. You have to be looking at the replay, and it's a clear foul. And Robbie Savage is saying 1 minute it's a penalty, and next minute it's not. Like, again, we're getting conflicting reports from apparently top players and top pundits. Like, if you can't say that's a penalty, don't say it. But if you say it's a penalty, you have to stand by that view. You've got to stand by that opinion. And I think Robbie Savage has been absolutely flip-flopped tonight. He quickly changes his mind and view and opinion when something doesn't go the way he thinks it should go. And again, there's quite a lot of bitterness there, because his son's no longer at Manchester United, because Manchester United realised he was shit. And this is why Charlie Savage is playing for Reading. And I think Robbie Savage is still very, very bitter towards Manchester United. And I don't think he likes it that his son's no longer at the club, because I think he probably thought his son deserves a chance in his team. He didn't get given his opportunity. Well, at the end of the day, mate, you ain't good enough. You're never going to make it to the top. And at the end of the day, League One Reading is about your son's level. And he's probably going to end up in the Championship probably next season, because he's doing well for Reading. So I think to flip-flop from one opinion to another on a penalty decision is quite sad. I mean, you have to stand by that view. You've got to stand by that opinion. it's a clear penalty, and so is the second one. And I think, again, like I said, I think Manchester United have been robbed of 2 clear penalties. We should have had 4 goals tonight if we'd have had both those penalty decisions given to us. But we move on. Like, I think it was very, very frustrating first half, in my view. I felt very, very hard done by. I thought Manchester United could have taken Paok to the cleaners tonight. I think there was an opportunity to do that. I think there was an opportunity to score quite a few goals tonight. But again, I think the team selection isn't really helping the benefit of that team. And again, a lot of positives tonight. Antony's back from injury. Mount's back from injury. Christian Eriksen's also back from injury. And again, I don't think the team really benefited tonight due to playing 2 CDMs and 1 centre attacking midfielder and a back 4 that contained Johnny Evans and Lindelof. I get that we need to keep the team fresh, and I get that we need to rotate, and we've got to, fresh change the team up. We've got to get players in a fresher mindset, and we've got other games coming up which are the bigger priority. Because no disrespect to Paok, Manchester United should be beating them. We should be beating them 5-6-0 in my view, because Paok aren't very good. They may be second in the Greek league, but when it comes to a European competition, Paok are in the UEFA Europa League elimination zone. They were there for the taking tonight. There was an opportunity to score 5, 6, 7 goals if Manchester United would have got the team selection right. And I think, that is down to Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think it's also probably down to the coaching. I think there's a lot of players that I felt sorry for tonight that should have been starting the game. I couldn't understand what Johnny Evans and Lindelof are doing back in this team, because you've got 2 world-class centre-backs on this bench here that are your 2 main priorities and your 2 main your main centre-back partnership, who are keeping this back 4 quite strong and secure at the moment, and they're being benched. And again, I get it. I get it that we've got to freshen the team, and I get we've got to change it up. And again, we've got Leicester at the weekend, and I understand that. But I would have stopped. I would have gone with the best team. I would have gone with the best lineup, and I probably would have gone with my strongest players, because I think, to be honest with you, the way the first half went, you could see the atmosphere absolutely died at halftime. I think you could see the frustration, you could see the disappointment, and you could see the anger. You could see it from the supporters, you could see it from the fans that Manchester United missed an absolute trick tonight by not taking this team to the cleaners. There was an opportunity to do that. It's not benefiting the players when we've got players that aren't good enough, or players that should not be at this football club. And I think Ruud van Nistelrooy got the team wrong in some sections of in the squad. I think, again, the front 3 was probably the correct front 3 to go with, because, again, Joshua Zirkzee, 17 games without a goal, comes on with a late cameo 2 minutes to go. And again, that's quite embarrassing. And I think I've no disrespect to Joshua Zirkzee. It's not working. You're not scoring goals. You've gone 17 goals. 1 goal in 17 isn't exactly the heights or the level that we expected. And it's probably quite embarrassing coming on with 2 minutes to go when the game's basically won, and you're not ready to get impact for a 3rd goal. And I felt sorry for him, because I thought that was a lack of respect there. That's quite embarrassing with 2 minutes to go, that you're throwing him on, trying to seal and clinch the 3rd goal, which wasn't going to come. It was too little, too late to try and add any more flair or any more goals onto the current scoreline, which was currently stated at 2-0. And again, it's quite an embarrassing substitution, in my view, to bring off Højlund. Again, I thought really, really struggled tonight. I don't think we got him in the game much. I don't think we got the ball to him enough. And I think, again, there is a lack of service to the striker. We've got a goal-scoring problem, haven't we? Again, that we should have solved this summer. We didn't solve the summer before. And I think we are paying the price. I think massively we are relying on our wingers to provide the goals, to provide the assists, to provide the moments of magic. And again, I think without Amad Diallo, a lot of fans have been calling for Amad to start, including myself. I'm a massive fan of the player. I'm excited what he's going to do. And the 2 goals tonight, I thought he took really, really well. The first goal, I mean, it is a brilliant header to loop the ball over the goalkeeper from the height, and he got it in from the inside the penalty area. I didn't really expect it to go over the goalkeeper and loop in. I was kind of expecting the Amad header to go over the bar, and I was just absolutely praying that this loops in. Luckily for Manchester United benefit, it did. But I don't understand what the Paok players were appealing for. I don't know what they saw compared to what we saw. They were appealing for a push. They were appealing for a foul. And again, that again is very, very, very embarrassing from a Paok team that are absolutely shit in a European competition that they're making no impact on, that they're appealing for a foul. They're appealing for a push. There's no foul. There's no push in the build-up. There's no foul on the Paok player. And Ahmad gets a clear goal, clear header, loops over your goalkeeper. And again, it's poor goalkeeping from the Paok goalkeeper. You shouldn't be allowing, Ahmad's quite a short player. He's not exactly the tallest in the Man United team, but to be able to loop the header with the power and the finesse to get that ball over the goalkeeper, it's not just poor goalkeeping. I think it's also piss poor defending from Paok, because there's no one on that back post preventing that Amad Diallo header from going over the goalkeeper. There's no one on that back post, and again, it's quite easy to defend that situation. You need a player on your back post to prevent that goal from going in. So that's why it's gone in, because it's poor goalkeeping, it's poor defending, but it's down to the power and the finesse that Amad gets on that header, because you've got one or two things. That ball's going to go over the bar or it's going to loop in. And thankfully for Amad, it was the latter, that it looped in. It's a good goal. It's a very, very good goal. I think the first goal is absolutely brilliant, because you don't know if this is going to end up going in or not. And I think Amad's done well in that position he got himself into to be able to get that shot over the goalkeeper is quite impressive. And I think the second goal, I would say, is even more brilliant. Like, the second goal is absolutely brilliant. I think when you've got a one-on-one situation, was it Barbara Rahman, the ex-Chelsea? Was it the ex-Chelsea left-back? And Amad were both fighting for the ball, and Amad was going to try everything and anything to win that ball back. And the absolute brilliance and the determination to fight for the ball and fight for that ball off Barbara Rahman is absolutely outstanding play from a winger that actually gets what we're trying to do, a player that is actually trying to create a goal-scoring opportunity. But to keep fighting for that ball and to keep fighting for that moment, and for the shot, it's absolutely brilliant goal. It's a brilliant goal. It's a brilliant finessed left-footed curler into the bottom right-hand corner. It is a brilliant, brilliant goal, because Amad Diallo, he could have one or two options here. He either doesn't bother fighting Baba Rahman for the ball, or he keeps fighting for the ball, and he keeps fighting. He doesn't let that ball get away from him, and he robs the ball off him, and he basically he shoves him up. Amad Diallo shoves Baba Rahman off him like it's not even a contest. Barbara Rahman gave up in the moment because he knew Amad was not going to be able to be stopped. And it's such a brilliant, brilliant goal from Amad to curl that into the bottom right-hand corner with a brilliant left-footed finesse bottom corner shot. It's a brilliant, brilliant goal. And this is why Amad Diallo should have been starting ages ago. This is why he gets picked over Antony. This is why he was trusted over Sancho. This is why he was trusted over Palestri, because there is a player in there who is ready to unleash his talent, who's ready to unleash the quality that he's actually got on him. Amad Diallo has been the right winger that we've been crying out for fucking ages. And again, at the start, when we brought him in under Solskjaer, he was still quite young. He was still learning. He was still developing. And I think the loan moves really, really helped him as well. I think getting a loan move to obviously Rangers really helped him. I think the loan move to go to Sunderland was a brilliant one. And you're now starting to see why Amad Diallo was selected tonight. Because I think, there's a lot of trust in him. There's a lot of faith in him. And there's a lot of courage for the manager, especially with Ruud van Nistelrooy being the interim still. There's a lot of trust there from Ruud to start Amad over certain other players. And I think Ruud van Nistelrooy got it right starting that front three of Garnacho, Højlund and Amad Diallo. And for me, again, as I keep on stating, that should be the front three we build this team around in the future. But there's still question marks over what happened to Amad, what happened to Rasmus tonight. Again, I think that was down to a lack of service. I think his first touch was very, very poor, if I'm going to be really honest. And we don't get the ball to him enough. And this is why he's also not scoring enough goals for Manchester United. So he's kind of in the same boat as Joshua Zirkzee. We've got two Serie A strikers trying to provide the goals that Manchester United need. And I think maybe season 3 syndrome's happening, season 2 syndrome's happening with Rasmus. And I think the game and development of Joshua Zirkzee, I don't think it's going to plan. And I think that's also why we are struggling to score goals, because I think they're both lacking quite a lot of confidence. I look at both players and their morales look completely shot. I don't see the hunger from both players tonight, if I'm being really honest. I thought Rasmus wasn't exactly the player I was kind of expecting to be tonight. I thought there was a few goals in him against this Paok defence. I thought his speed and his pace would have been able to cause that Paok back four quite a lot of problems. And again, we really struggled to get the ball to Rasmus in the penalty area. There was not really any kind of special moment. The only moment he had on goal was when Ahmad whipped the ball inside the first half, and the Rasmus Højlund header inside the penalty area was straight at the goalkeeper. That was the best chance Højlund had on goal all night. I feel sorry for him because, again, there's a striker there that isn't scoring enough goals. So he is in the same boat as Joshua Zirkzee, unfortunately. And it's got to be said. It's got to be told the truth. And again, it is what it is. We've got to try and somehow get these two strikers scoring the goals that we need. How we're going to do that, I don't know. Is it the development plan? Is it the training? Is it the team and how we're setting it up? I'm not sure. I'm really, really not sure. And I want both their careers to work out here. I really do. But I think the longer it gets without either of these two scoring a goal, the worse the situation is going to become. Because if we're starting to create chances through the midfield to the attack and they're still not scoring, that is going to be a big, big headache once Ruben Amorim comes in to take charge. Because if he's going to realise his strikers aren't scoring goals, there's a problem there. And again, it's true that Man United are going to spend some money in January. What I'm hearing and what I'm being told and what I'm seeing on Twitter or on X, whatever you want to call it, is that Manchester United are going to be in a PSR situation again due to money. And again, I don't really agree with that. I disagree with that view. I disagree with that opinion, that statement that certain journalists come out with. I don't think PSR is a problem. I don't think money is at fault here. I think Manchester United know they have signed two strikers that simply should never have been scouted, should have never been brought. And we are probably now deep down regretting it when we needed two proven goal scorers to take this team forward. And again, if we are being restricted by loan deals, then the conversation is going to be in 2 to 3 years' time that we are sacking another manager because we didn't give him the players he wants, we didn't get him the signings he needed, and the players he wanted rid of haven't been got rid of the football club. So again, we are going to be sat in the same situation in 2 to 3 years' time, sacking yet again another manager because he's not being given money to spend in January. Apparently, we are restricted by loan deals. That is all we can do in January. If that's true, we are fucked. That's all I'm going to say. It's a bit of a negative on this match reaction and this full-time look at what's happened. But if we are restricted by loan deals, we are going to be screwed. Ruben Amorim is going to need a miracle to produce what we've got here. Because if we're not scoring goals, how the fuck are we putting the ball in the net? Because what happened before the game, and remember Faz, who used to be on the United stand, I think the guy has absolutely lost his head tonight going in on Garnacho before kickoff. You've got Garnacho signing a load of autographs for a lot of young Manchester United fans who are inspired by Garnacho, who are, look at him as a role model, who look at him as a great player. Probably a lot of those young fans, Garnacho is their favourite player. But what Faz has done tonight before kickoff, when you've got Garnacho signing those autographs for the fans, going in on him, you've got to do better. You've got to be better with the ball. You've got to be chasing down better. I want you to score a goal tonight. You've got to be better in all aspects of your game, and I want to see it. I don't know what Faz is thinking. I really, really don't. And it is circling on X, it is circling on Twitter that Faz has gone in on Garnacho tonight. And apparently Garnacho didn't like it. Garnacho reacted to it. And apparently Garnacho looked pissed anyway. This is the problem with fans like Faz who get sucked in by United fan channels. He gets booted off the United stand. Don't know what's happened. Don't know why it's happened. And I don't know why he's done what he's done tonight. I think it's a lack of respect towards Garnacho. Obviously, Garnacho is still young. He's still developing and he's still got a lot to learn. But to go in on a player before we've even kicked a ball tonight, before we've even done anything on the pitch against Paok, to go in on a player that we are trying to build a team around, who's one of our best players at this current moment in time, to do that before kickoff, that is going to fuck your morale up. That's going to fuck your confidence up, and that is going to affect your mood. And again, Garnacho did not need that. So I don't know why Faz all of a sudden has gone over to Garnacho while he's signing autographs for the Young United fans and said what he said. It's a lack of respect. And if he calls himself a Man United fan, come out and say why you've done it, because you've not clarified it. And apparently, the view of his is, it's not just me that thinks there's a bit of this opinion. It's a lot of you. And I'm saying not just for myself, but for others. At the end of the day, these players need to do it on the pitch. You going in on them before they even kicked a ball tonight is a lack of respect and a lack of understanding what some of these young players are trying to do. Because they're the ones sacrificing everything to be at this club. They're the ones trying to be the future. And when you're going in on them before kickoff, wake up, smell the coffee. You're not a Man United fan. You're just absolutely going in on a player that did not need that tonight before kickoff. Face facts here. Whatever Faz did on the United stand to get sacked by them has obviously put himself in a situation where he's got no platform now. His YouTube channel is losing so many subscribers, and all of a sudden now he thinks it's all right to go over to a young player like Garnacho, who, while he's signing fans' autographs and, taking pictures and stuff and selfies, going over to play before kickoff, that is a lack of respect. That has got to be investigated, because that's not fair. That you could see that on Garnacho tonight. Garnacho did not have his best game, but he was probably still one of our best attacking players in the performance, because he's the only one trying to cause that back four problems. He's the only one causing problems in their penalty area. He's the only one trying to fight for every shot, every tackle, and every ball. You don't see Garnacho give up. And yes, he's probably not, been brilliant in the last two games, but there's no need to go over him before kickoff and have a fucking dig. I'm sorry. He's lost it tonight, Faz. And I had a lot of respect for him on a United stand, but I have lost complete respect for the guy. I don't know him. I don't want to know him. I can't call him a Man United fan. You wouldn't see me going over to United player and absolutely going on and saying before kickoff, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Let them do the talking for you. Let them show you what you can do. Don't go over before kickoff and start having a dig at him before we've even kicked off. Because that, I really think, affected Garnacho tonight. You didn't see him in his best game. It was quite a frustrating performance. He played a lot of through balls into the penalty area to Delo and Fernandez that ran out of play. And again, that was probably down to the comments Faz made in the first place. I want it to work out for Garnacho, but again, he is still learning, he's still developing. So there needs to be an apology there, and that needs to be looked at by Manchester United, by absolutely everybody at the football club, because I don't think it's fair. I think Nat supporters should be banned from the football club. It's not fair on the player. If you're going to criticise him, let the player do the talking. Let the player show you what he can do. But he's still one of our best attacking young players. If you build a successful team around him, Garnacho will keep producing week in, week out. And I still believe he will. And again, I thought he was good tonight, but not great. But he was still good enough to be able to contribute towards the performance. You see a young player there who's got the personality and the temperament and the eagerness to win games, to fight for the ball, to fight for every shot. You don't see Garnacho shrug his shoulders and can't be bothered. Like, we see enough of that through Marcus Rashford. Don't start turning on Garnacho. It's not Garnacho's fault he weren't brilliant tonight. The whole game was very up and down, because once we got the first goal, we let Paok fucking at us again. Why we sat back, I don't know. I don't know why we sat back so much during that game today. Again, it just makes no logical sense why we go 1-0 up and all of a sudden let's let the opposition at us. We are doing that so often. We've done that in every Europa League game so far. And you could tell. And look at that chance that Paok player had one-on-one with Onana, and it hit such a low shot, Onana's able to grab it. But look at the gap between Johnny Evans and Lindelof, and Johnny Evans, and, look at the gap. If Onana wouldn't have died for that shot and positioned himself correctly, that makes it 1-1. And then you've got to then blame the defence because the gap in that Paok chance is huge. That goes in, this would have changed the game. United would have thrown away yet another winnable lead that Man United have got themselves into. So United are lucky tonight that we've got that second goal. If we don't get that second goal and we concede, that would have been 4 points from 12. And again, 6 points from 12 is still quite bad. We're still not in that comfortable position yet. We have still got many more games left for Europa League. I think we've got 4 more. I think we've got FCSB, we've got Rangers, we've got Bodo Glimt, and we've got somebody else. But this is a huge win. This is going to hopefully spark the Europa League comeback and we get through to the knockout round because that's what we need now. And we kept a clean sheet. It's just the way we got so lethargic and we sat back, letting Paok attack us, especially in those last 10 minutes as well. I thought Paok were massively the better team. And again, once Ahmad got the first goal, why we let Paok have all that possession, have all those chances, I don't know why we do that. It's like we get too comfortable when we go 1-0 up and we just let the opposition up at us and then we try and break them on the counter-attack. You can't be doing that. You've got to be finding the second goal. And it was a long wait for the second goal, but it's just brilliant from Ahmad. And this is why he should be starting. This is why I've been calling for Erasmus, Garnacho and Ahmad front three. Because this is the front three to build on. And again, a certain Mr. Marcus Rashford probably saw that as a bit of a statement of intent from Rue to say, look, you're getting rested tonight. You weren't brilliant against Chelsea, and I'm not going to let you ruin the game. And again, I think some of the subs didn't really improve the game, in my view. Again, no, it's nice to have Eriksen back from injury, let him come on for the last 20, 25 minutes. The same for Mason Mount in the last 10 to 15. Obviously, Anthony is back from injury as well. Nowhere near the first team, doesn't come on because I think there's a lot of trust in Ahmad. And without him tonight, we don't win this game. Without his 2 goals, we don't get the 3 points. He's our best player at the moment, and this is why he needs to be starting on that right wing. This is a huge statement now that now Ahmad's done this, let him be unleashed on the Premier League side because see what he could do. Because if he could produce this week in, week out, and again, the second goal is very dubious because it has taken a slight deflection from the Amad Diallo shot, which is taking it past the goalkeeper. And I'm not taking the goal away from Ahmad. It's pure brilliance the way he was still able to fight for the ball against Barbara Rahman, the Paok left back. At least he didn't give up because a lot of players in that situation, if it wasn't Ahmad, would have given up chasing for the ball and probably would have let Paok regain possession. If Ahmad wouldn't have done what he did tonight, where was that second goal coming from? Because I didn't see a lot of that from the rest of the team, if I'm going to be very honest with you. I think, again, the midfield is very, very questionable. Again, I thought Bruno Fernandes wasn't exactly great tonight. I saw a lack of aggression from Bruno. Is it tiredness? Is it fatigue? Is it a lot of game time that he's being relied on him? Because he's only really our most centre attacking midfielder. I'm not very sure, but I thought Bruno was very, very disappointing tonight. I expected a captain's performance. I expected a leadership performance. I saw a player who looked absolutely out of ideas tonight. And I don't say I don't say a lot about Bruno Fernandes, but I just saw pure frustration. I think some of his passing, I think some of his play and his build up with some of the other Man United players weren't exactly ticking tonight. And again, I don't think the midfield's being helped by playing 2 CDMs. Again, I think why Bruno struggles is because he hasn't got that other second centre attacking midfielder next to him. I think this is why Bruno is struggling because he's having to do most of the centre attacking midfield role on his own. And he's expected a lot of himself, and he does. He expects a lot of himself. He takes a lot of the criticism on, and he does try and learn from it and tries to be the best that he can be in a Man United shirt. And I think him being on his own, he's really starting to struggle because he's having to do that job with no one else next to him. He doesn't look comfortable for me. And I think playing 2 CDMs, like, again, what's the point? Like, the game's there to be won. And if you've got Mount and Eriksen fit, then surely they're fit to start. I'm not trying to put a damper on the win or the result. I'm just saying, if Bruno's struggling, get another centre attacking midfielder on next to him and get one CDM off the pitch and let one CDM stay on and go back to a 4-3-3 traditional, play one CDM and two centre attacking midfielders. Because I think Bruno on his own, he's struggling. He's out of ideas. He's out of his depth because he knows the back four is a lot more protected when we've got two CDMs sat against quite a mid-table European team in Paok. No disrespect, but we should have went for the juggler. We really, really should have gone for this tonight. And I think I think United have missed a trick. I think there was a load of goals we could have scored tonight. I think Ruud van Nistelrooy picked the wrong team. I think it should have been Onana, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Martinez. For the midfield, it should have been Agate, maybe Eriksen, Fernandez, or Mountain, Fernandez, and the front three was the correct decision to go with. I think that probably paid off in the end. But again, there was a huge opportunity tonight to give Harry AMASS some minutes. I mean, again, a left back that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks on end, that we need a left back. We need a left back. Again, has been completely and utterly ignored by the coaches, and Ruud van Nistelrooy was ignored under Ten Hag and was promised minutes tonight. And he was promised a cameo in that team. And again, a young player that probably answers quite a lot of problems in our back four, especially where the left back's been the biggest problem all season long. There was a huge opportunity to balance that back four perfectly. But maybe, again, maybe the United coaching staff just doesn't rate him. Maybe they don't think he's ready. Maybe they don't think he's the right fit at left back. And maybe again in a big European game, which again is a must-win game for United. Thankfully, they've got the win and the result and the 3 points. From 4 games, it's pretty poor that you've only got 6 points where you could have had a possible 12 out of 12 if we wouldn't have thrown away our first 3 games, especially where we took the lead in all 3 of them. I think there was an opportunity for AMASS to get some minutes at left back and see if he can actually be the answer. Because if he isn't going to get any game time now, what hope has Harry AMASS got at Manchester United? I feel sorry for the lad because we are struggling without a left back in that back four. And again, I don't think Dalot, Lindelof, and Johnny Evans are covering themselves in any glory tonight. I think those 3 have got off very, very lightly because I think the amount of gaps they left for that Paok front 3 and they allowed that chance near the end for Paok to equalise. If that goes in, this would have been a completely different match reaction and a full-time reaction as well. I think it would have been a different vibe for me. I would have been, well, this is the same old Man United. We have thrown away another winnable European game, which we were close to doing. And luckily for Onana, that player didn't exactly hit that shot of any power, exactly anything else. It was basically just pass the ball back to the goalkeeper and have a shot on goal. It was too soft. There was no precision in the shot. There was no aim to where he was going to put it past Onana. I think Onana got to the right position in the goal in the first place to prevent that going in. Because if that would have rolled in, I think that would have been utter uproar from Old Trafford and been like this. We would have made it very, very difficult for ourselves to stay alive in this Europa League. And again, we've bided our time. The second half was a lot better in the intensity. We came out in the second half the much better team, but we were on the front foot in the first half. I mean, Kamara had one decent chance of Paok in that first half, but it was a good save by Onana, but it was straight at him. It was quite a simple save for Andre Onana to make. And again, that was going in now. That was going in. If he wouldn't have pulled that save off, Onana's goal would have been conceded down the middle of the goal again. If that would have gone in, we would have been 1-0 down. I don't know how we would have recovered from that, because when we go 1-0 down, we absolutely shit the bed. So I think we've got so very lucky that we've got a quality player like Ahmad. I think it answers a lot of players that, again, there's a lot of signs that I think Ruben Amorim is going to need a lot of time. He's going to need the backing in the January transfer window. We can't rely on loan deals. If that's true, then I fear how long Ruben Amorim's going to be given, because he can't go with these same players again. He can't be given the same squad. Surely they are going to back him in January. But if they're going to tell him loan deals, if I'm Ruben Amorim and I'm looking at that Man Up performance tonight, I'm requesting another midfielder, I'm requesting a left back, and I'm requesting a striker. And again, if he wants to bring 3 or 4 Sporting Lisbon players, again, that's not the route I want to go down. But if that is the only way, to add quality into the team that is currently missing. We are going to have to do it. And Man United are going to have to cough up. If they've had money to sack Ten Hag, they've had money to appoint Ruben Amorim and bring all this coaching staff, then where's the money going that we haven't got in January? There is money there. I don't think the bullshit we've heard today is true. United are going to have to back him. If he wants Victor Gokras, United are going to have to cough up. If he wants 2 or 3 other Sporting Lisbon players, as well as any other players across any other different leagues, then you're going to have to back him because, again, the defending is very lacklustre. Without Martinez and De Ligt, we look all over the shop at centre-back. I mean, we let Paok have good chances on goal tonight, and that is down to the back 4. Johnny Evans and Lindelof should be in a retirement home. Like, they shouldn't be playing games for Man United on a big European night. And again, I'm not trying to say, any disrespect to the Paok team, but you're playing Paok. How are you still letting them have chances against you? Like, you shouldn't be letting that happen. You shouldn't be letting Paok have chances on goal, because if they take 2 of them, which they could have done, they would have had 2 goals tonight. We would have drawn this game. It would have been 4 points from 12. Imagine if this ended in a draw. Where would we be? But again, we got the job done. We got the win. We got the 3 points. And it's finally, we've won a European game for the first time in over 360 days. Like, it's our first European win in over a year. Like, if we wouldn't have won this tonight, I think there would have been quite a big backslash. I think there would have been a lot of anger, because how the hell we were going to be able to turn this European campaign around. And again, there is still time for Man United to screw this up. The European campaign is far from done. We are still capable of dropping points, but I'm kind of hoping this win tonight is going to point us in the right direction to continue the rest of the Europa League campaign like this, because we are playing shit opposition now for the rest of this campaign. Our last 4 games are against really, really shit opposition. And again, we need to take these lot to the cleaners now in our next 4 Europa League games, because we will qualify for the knockouts automatically. Because going through a playoff, if you don't win that, we ain't getting out of it. We ain't going to finish in Europe for the rest of the season. We will be out. But it's a huge statement for Manchester United to, give a player like Ahmad the chance. And he's taken it tonight. And this is why fans have wanted this, including myself, that the winger you need is Ahmad. The player we need to put our trust and our faith in is Ahmad. Without him tonight, where are those 2 goals coming from? Because I don't think Garnacho had them in him. I don't think Højlund had it in him. I think Xerxes, I think Rashford's in the same category. I don't think Rashford impacted the game in the second half when he came on as a late second half substitute. Xerxes, 2 minutes to go. What are you really going to do in 2 minutes? Quite an embarrassing cameo. Basically, it's making a big statement saying you're not good enough. Again, the midfield has got by again tonight with us playing 2 CDMs when we had the opportunity to help Bruno Fernandes a bit more in that centre attacking midfield position. I think Bruno struggled tonight. I think back 4 have been let off massively, especially the 2 chances Paok tonight had on goal. If either of them go in, this is a different story. This is a different story. I think Dalot, the Diego Dalot fan club, have got to start looking at Dalot. What's happening to Dalot? Again, Dalot's fallen off since West Ham. Absolutely fallen off a cliff. And I've never rated the guy. And again, tonight, he shows he is so uncomfortable at left back, doesn't he? He shows he's so uncomfortable. And I think he realises my time's coming up now that, I ain't good enough here. I've dropped off levels. I think that West Ham chance he had has absolutely derailed Dalot. I don't know what you think, but I think Dalot is falling off a cliff now with his performances. They're just simply not there. And I think it's very, very unfair on a player. Not on the player, I would say on his performance. I just don't know where they've been. I've never rated the guy. And again, I think this has been a bad signing by Man United when they gave the sanction under Mourinho. They should have never bought Dalot, because I don't think he's benefited us since he's been here. I think he's made us look worse. I think the only decent right back we've got is Mazraoui. So I think, again, in the summer or even in January, we need another right back, let Dalot go, and we bring in 2 brand new left backs, because that's got to be the big talking point. That I think the back 4 and the midfield have let us off tonight massively. If, like I said, if Paok take those 2 opportunities, they score, we draw this game, or we could even have lost. But I think the brilliance of Ahmad at the double for Manchester United has got us over the finish line. Without the quality, without his determination, without his skill, and without his threat on the wing, the game would have ended as a draw. This would have finished 0-0. Without his 2 goals, where would we be? Amad Diallo is the answer to that right wing solution. We don't need another winger. Maybe on the left, maybe. But on the right, I think we're absolutely fine. But if we lose Amad and they let Antony go, we are then screwed. But I'm not saying we need Antony. He ain't good enough. But I think we need another winger to be Amad's backup. Because I think Amad now has to be surely the answer and the security we have finally got on that right wing. Because like I said, if he wouldn't have taken the 2 opportunities he did and the way for his determination for the second goal, that is what you call a Man United player. That is what you call a player playing for the shirt, playing for the badge, playing for the fans, and playing for supporters. His brilliance tonight, Amad Diallo at the double, has to be player of the match. Absolutely by a mile. Because he's got the quality, he's got the skill, he's got the determination, he's got the space, he's got the pace, he's got the running ability. He frightens opposition back 4. We don't see that from Garnacho. We don't see it from Rashford. We don't see it from Antony. But as soon as Amad gets the ball, there is a problem being caused by Amad against the opposition. So by an absolute mile, Amad Diallo gets my player of the match. And again, Manchester United 2, Paok 0. Our first win in over 360 days, over a year, and we finally win a Europa League game this season. So, hope you enjoyed this full-time reaction. Please hit the like button and the share button. Please keep subscribing to the channel, United Red Devils 20. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember, put the notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated and upcoming brand new content that we have got planned for the rest of 2024 this year. We've only got 2 months left, November and December. We've got brand new videos, shorts and live streams planned for all of you amazing people to be part of and be part of the channel on every bit of content. And then please join me most likely for tomorrow evening or maybe tomorrow afternoon where we will be doing the Premier League look ahead where we are playing Leicester City again. Look what we did to Leicester City last time in the Carabao Cup. We beat them 5-2 at Old Trafford. Will we see a repeat? Will we see the style, what we saw when Ruud van Nistelrooy took his first game in interim charge against Leicester City in that Carabao Cup 4th round game? Let's wait and see. We'll be discussing that on the Premier League look ahead, possibly tomorrow evening. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, be nice, and be kind to each other. It's been a long day. I'm very tired. I'm going to chill out for the rest of the evening. And I'll see you guys all on the next one.